Thanks for tuning in again to the undergraduate geology research program of UC Claremont vlog. This is day 2/3. We were really tired last night, and so we didn't do anything. So tonight we are going to be covering a few things, one of which is how to properly prepare a sample cup for our XRF analyzer. So tonight we are going to be focusing on a couple of things. This vlog is going to be sort of a conglomerate of a few things, one of which is going to be sample preparation of sample cup preparation of these amber samples that we purchased from a rock shop in Keystone, South Dakota. These are significant for reasons that I will go into in a bit, followed by my premier primetime slot will be the much less anticipated whatever Caroline's doing, and sort of scattered in there we're gonna be doing the we're gonna sort of just along the way we're gonna be having a debrief of what we did today, which just for the broad strokes is we essentially woke up, went to Walmart, and then we stopped at a local office of the South Dakota Geological Survey, followed by a trip to, I forgot. Oh, wait, yeah, I remember. The South Dakota School of Mines. We only spent like 5 hours there, where we toured the museum and then the paleontology research lab. Okay, so what you're all here to see, me. So the sample cup for the XRF is it's really useful. It's the preferred method for us to sort of test things. We can use the tool out in the field, and that's really good, but it's better to bring samples back and grind them up, which I have done off camera for your viewing convenience. And then I'm going to put them in this pestle and mortar and sort of just get these, hopefully get these last little chunks of amber out. So while I go ahead and throw this in here, so this amber that we got is from Colombia. We don't really know what the age of it is because it's a rock shop, and Dr. Hunt isn't exactly sure if it even is amber quite yet. Dr. Hunt, if you have anything to add on that, that would be good.
Well, my comment was that it's immature, and it would probably be called opal rather than amber.
And so that's just sort of something that would, you know, it would turn into amber eventually, but it's just not quite there yet.
Right.
So that's what this is basically what Dr. Hunt said, obviously. But what's interesting about it is even though it's not amber, we detected iridium in it during initial tests at the shop. So in basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to grind it up and create a compressed sample so that the tool has more to go on. I don't know if this is going to disprove my theories on iridium and amber. If it does, Ohio Academy of Science, please don't unpublish me. I worked really hard on that. So to get a reliable sample cup reading, I'm going to go through it first. So what's going to happen is these sample cups are split up into three main parts. There's this sort of hub piece that everything attaches to. There's an end cap and there's a top ring. And then there's this piece of plastic that you can't see because it's super thin that sort of goes over this hub and between this ring so that the tool can then read it. So to begin, we get the piece of plastic off of its other plastic home, and we sort of take it and we stretch it over the hub piece. For those of you in our live studio audience, pay close attention. I will be testing you over this later. So after we get the piece of plastic on with our fingers, we sort of finagle it until we're able to get the ring on, and we sort of snap it on. There, so it looks like there's nothing there, but I promise there is. There's this clear plastic piece that's going to allow the tool to read it from the aperture once we put it on there. So now we take our very nicely dried and organic grass-fed sample, and we're going to put it into our sample cup. And the idea here is to sort of create a compacted sort of, I don't want to say a disc, but we want to make sure that it's compacted very well into the sample cup to ensure an accurate reading. Because as I said, the readings that we initially took for this amber were in a rock shop, not the most stable or sterile lab environment, but what are you going to do? So after we get enough of this crushed up amber in here, I'm going to sort of even it out. I feel like I'm baking a cake. And then, where are my paper circles? So get these paper circles to, all it does is, again, it just helps to press the sample down even farther and keep it more secure during the sample testing process. This goes over the sample, and I sort of tamp it down a little bit to press the sample even harder against the plastic. Then fluff is taken, just a dash, a pinch, not that much, to ball up. And what this is going to do is, since the nature of this fluff is it wants to expand because it's fluffy, it's going to push against this paper disc and the sample. And it's, like I said, everything that I'm doing here on the back of the sample is just to press the sample harder against the plastic film to ensure a more accurate reading. And so that is a completed sample cup. I'm going to test this now, and the world will watch with bated breath as I may be disproving my own research. So the tool goes inside its little test bench home here, and it has a screen that we can see. I'm going to turn the laptop towards you all. You can see that, I think. Yeah, you can see that now. So I should probably close the lid, lock it, and then Blake and I, we're wearing our dosimeters. Basically what these do, these measure radiation, the amount that we're taking in. So if these spike, that means we don't get to use the tool anymore, though I doubt that'll happen. Everybody else is a safe distance away, about 6 feet, so there's no risk of any safety concerns. So while we wait, it's going to take about 120 seconds for this to test. We took a journey down to one of the local offices for the South Dakota Geological Survey. It was kind of funny because it was a literal office. It wasn't like a front end for people to go in and ask questions. It was a literal cubicle office space. They were quite startled when we all walked in, because initially the plan was for me to just go in alone to find out what was going on. Then Blake said he wanted to go. Then Jake said he wanted to go. Then Scott parked. And then everybody else got out of the car. And by the time I realized where the place was and I walked in the front door, I had about 7 to 8 people behind me. And so everybody in their cubicles was looking up at me like I was an alien. And we spoke to a very nice man who gave us this great gift, which could be yours for only 2 payments of $99.99. So you can't see me anymore, but so basically what he did was he's Dr. Holt, what would you say his profession is? Is he just a geologist, or
a geologist? Yes.
I didn't know if sort of the people who went out and mapped had some type of subspecialty. So the man we spoke with was somebody who has done extensive mapping of the Black Hills locality over the years. The map that we just showed to you all, he drew a decent portion of that by hand when he was in college. Dr. Fehrenbacher, thank you very much. He was very friendly to us. He printed out, I believe, 2 sheets with sort of mines that we could go to visit. I know that Jake was really excited about that. And then he gave us that large map that was much more detailed than what we were anticipating to find. So how did you guys feel about that? Because I was kind of blown away at the fact that he was so ready to just give us everything that we wanted and then some, because Dr. Hunt came in looking for a little normal 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and he came out with that big old piece of map, and then like personally annotated mine locales for us to visit.
He went above and beyond to make us feel at home, I thought, and help us out and make sure that we got what we wanted, we got what we needed, and he gave us enough information to keep us busy for at least 2 years, maybe.
So to bring it back to this, so this confirms that this amber that we found in a rock shop outside of the rock shop contains iridium. And I say amber, it's not even really technically amber. And here we are now with iridium positive readings with a nice home cooked sample cup by yours truly. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting actually. There's a decent amount of metallics in this sample, so 0.26% iron, which in a small sample like that is something that Dr. Hunt and I were talking about this morning, about potentially using these other metallic elements as a means to back up our claims of these samples, including iridium, because obviously in meteorites, iridium is not the only element, and the metallic meteorites are generally more common.
Yes, and we talked about iridium being siderophilic, so it has a relationship with iron.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then beyond that, the amber being tree sap at the time of its formation. Once Scott came in the room, we started talking about how it seemed as though, I mean, it makes sense if you think about it, because if it's just a piece of sticky tree sap, any particulate matter, dust that even comes into contact with it is going to be a part of it. But the fact that we're detecting such high amounts of iridium in the sample it's incredible, because 13 parts per million is, with regard to the rarity of iridium on this planet, it's huge. So after iron, we have an aluminum oxide, followed by aluminum, followed by titanium oxide, followed by titanium. Then we have diphosphorus pentoxide, something that seems to be following us everywhere we go. It seems to be the general trend of we answer one question and two more take its place. Sure. Scott coined it a Hydra question.
Yeah, very cool. That's a very cool thing to leave the thought on. Let's move over and let Carolyn now tell us about Caroline. Tell us about her find the first day in the quarry near the cabin where we rented. And Caroline, you want to?
Yeah, so this is a piece of Sherman limestone that I found yesterday at a quarry near our cabin. On one side of the limestone, you can see a bunch of manganese dendrites. They almost look like snowflakes, and this would have been caused by this part of the rock being exposed to water that was carrying manganese, and the manganese would have filled into small fractures in the limestone, and it would have crystallized, causing the snowflake pattern.
You want to get us a look at that?
Yeah. And so once I brought it home, I took a look at it under the stereo microscope here, and I hooked a camera up to it and took some pictures on my laptop, and that's pretty much it.
All right. And now, I've got to point out some of the features there. I'm really zoomed in tight on
You see the laptop?
The laptop zoomed in right in on the picture of the thing.
So you can kind of see the branches here, how they spread out. It's really like a snowflake pattern. And that's just from the crystallization after the manganese collected in those fractures there.
That's very cool. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what is it? You found a dendrite? Is that what it's called?
It's a manganese dendrite and shirty limestone.
So what is a dendrite? To those of us interested in the space.
Go ahead, Caroline.
It's kind of like a shape. It's like you think of how a snowflake grows. It's kind of like that. That's basically the shape of it.
But what is
dendrite, it? The term dendrite is derived from the Latin for essentially tree or shrubs, a branching feature. And the manganese oxide dendrites and sometimes iron oxide.
Oh, so it's an element. It's not like a fossil.
Oh no.
Okay, so see,
it's a mineral.
I'm
and this is the. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Caroline.
Yeah, Caroline. educate me, please.
No, this isn't a fossil. This is just
Okay, I was so confused last night because when you had it up there, I'm like, I don't know what that looks like. Is that a plant?
Fossil.
I thought it was a plant.
No.
People think they are fossils.
Yeah.
They mistake them for fossils. They're not at all. This is only one pattern. There are many variable patterns of dendritic growth. It's a growth habit of the crystal.
But that's really cool. So are those like rare? Are they?
I found a couple of them. None of them were this pretty.
Oh.
So I don't know if they'd be considered rare.
Caroline's.
What kind of age with that dendrite? Is that something that has recently happened, or is that something that happened like when the limestone was?
That happened probably some time ago. It's one of the diagenetic processes that rocks and minerals undergo through time.
I wanted to share something real quick about the piece of silver I found yesterday.
About the what?
The piece of silver vein we found in the limestone yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
At the quarry.
I don't have it on me.
Obviously.
I did take some notes on it, and
Okay.
we did read it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go over it real quick with the folks at home. We did go to the gravel pit. We were all there having a really cool time. It was awesome. It was better than being at Disney World, pretty much. So,
being here is like being at Disney World
exactly.
for a geologist.
It was a fantastic time, and we would have stayed all day, but we had other stuff to do. But while I was there, me and Jake are here looking at rare earth metals, titaniums, and valuable minerals and metals, and we come across a piece of limestone, and Dr. Hunt so graciously told us it was from the Ordovician.
Actually, it's Mississippian.
Mississippian.
Paleozoic, but it's Mississippian rather than Ordovician. A little younger than I first thought.
Mississippian, okay. And what had happened was this one actually had formed mud cracks in it.
Mm-hmm.
And in the mud cracks that were fossilized, there was this little vein of yellow mineral. We didn't know exactly what it was, so we shot it with the XRF. And it actually come up with a lot of cool stuff in it, and one was silver. It also included iron, palladium, aluminum, and iron, and other things like that. But the silver was really high. Actually, it was really cool because it was 24 parts per million, which is pretty fantastic. I thought. I was pretty excited. So we got our samples, and I don't know what to do with them next. I don't know if we can pulverize them or what, or just look at them and just have a good story to tell. But,
yeah.
It was really cool. I was really excited about that because we actually found silver.
You know, a couple of you guys, mostly I would say Caroline and William, because we got to the quarry and it was really cool. You know, we started out doing the XRF stuff, and then we went to this. It was this large open pit area. And we were at one end, and at the far end of the other was this open rock face with some nice folding, and one part of, like, half of it was oxidized and the other half wasn't. So we were really excited to get out there and shoot it with the XRF. We get out there, and I'm like, okay, Jake, it's your turn to use the XRF for the first time. So we're climbing up, and I turn around, and I see Caroline and William just picking through rocks on the ground. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, we're finding fossils. And I'm like, you're just finding fossils sitting here on the ground. And so over the course of like 15 minutes, I'm over here, I'm telling Jake about, you know, the tool, what we need to do, like how we want to be taking readings and stuff like that. And I turn around and William and Caroline like have their arms full with rocks already. It's the first day. And they're just sitting there with like arms full of rocks. And I'm like, you guys know you have to come up here at some point, right? And they're just like, uh-huh. But it was really cool because I just like, the interest of everybody started coming out like just right after the first day, because as soon as we took out the XRF, Jake was like chomping at the bit to get on the tool, and he was asking me questions and doing all this cool stuff. And then Blake, William, and Caroline were rock hounding their heads off.
They found some cool stuff.
Yeah, and then
a buttload of quartz crystals.
Yeah, and then Josh was over here striking silver.
Yeah,
you know. It was really cool that first day to sort of see everybody's interest coming out, and then today it was like that dial got turned up like past 11, like into like 15. Seeing William and Caroline at the South Dakota School of Mines Paleontology Research Lab was like, it was. I thought I was gonna have to hold William back for a second. Like it was It was really cool.
Yeah, I made him take his hands out of his pockets.
I think William, William's grandma, I told you I keep an eye on him. I think he has some sticky fingers. You know what I mean?
I know it.
Yeah. But, I mean, guys, like, that place was insane.
Going down the road and checking.
Yeah, highway side geology.
Yeah, that was the pegmatite?
Pegmatites, yeah.
That was awesome. That was the schist that we found.
The schist. There's so much schist.
It was schist.
Yeah. It was really cool because I think, like, I've had Dr. Hunt for 2 classes now, and I've known her for about a year and a half, so I know her teaching style, and I know, based on how the trip went last year, I'm able to make the connections between the textbook and the localities a little bit easier because I know how she teaches, but then being able to see it on someone else, seeing the excitement from the quarry transfer to this, like, highway side in the middle of South Dakota. We're climbing these hills on the side of the highway, and everybody's just laughing and having a good time, and then Dr. Hunt kind of reels us all back in and is like, look at this. Do you see how the pegmatite is different from these other localities that we visited previously? And she's letting us play, but she's also keeping us to the point where we're able to make the connections. And I just thought seeing that, like, on somebody who wasn't me for the first time, awesome. I thought it was really cool because it was, I loved it.
Right there. And the pegmatite, we talked about in our car. We talked about the difference between just a granite and a granitic pegmatite. And do you guys remember what we talked about there in terms of what makes it a pegmatite? Okay.
Yeah, so a pegmatite really it is very similar to a granite, but a granite has more of a fine, more kind of barely hard to see type crystal, and the pegmatite is a little larger of a crystal that you can kind of see with the naked eye.
Yeah, but it was a pegmatite because there were huge crystals. There were big crystals of that pink orthoclase feldspar and quartz and tourmaline that you guys found there. Nice big crystals. Oh, yeah, those were respectable.
Yes. No, and then that was just day 2, folks. Yeah. Guess what we did on day 3?
Yeah.
Tommy made a mention of it earlier. It was pretty cool. He and Dr. Hunt made us an appointment with the South Dakota School of Mining. Mm-hmm. We showed up almost a little late because we stopped by the USGS office and found out they were so helpful that we almost
we're late.
Almost got late.
For supper.
The nice thing about it, though, is when we did get there, they welcomed us into the museum, and at the same time there was a TV station shooting a segment for Dinosaur Day, which today is Dinosaur Day. And so the curator and the curator's assistant, I guess is whoever she was, came over and just started talking to us and said, what do you want to know? And we waited, and then we got shown the museum, which was incredible. They have a bunch of cool skeletons, and I'll let some of you guys talk about those too. But we thought, well, this is great. We just had a wonderful time. And then the second part of what they had set up was a tour of the South Dakota School of Mining
Paleontology Research Lab.
Thank you, William.
It's all a mouthful.
It is the Paleontology Research Lab, and we got to come to find out it's a brand new building. And we got there, and it was you walk in, and there's a life-size family of
Brontotherium.
There's William. He's going to be our paleontologist because he's got it down. So we had a family of Brontotherium there waiting for us, and then the lady Sally took us on a tour that was
in depth,
to
say the least.
Definitely a game changer.
Yeah,
cool.
It was really cool. You walk in, it's this gorgeous building, everything like that, and you don't expect it to contain, what you say, about 500,000 fossils.
Yeah, 500,000. Yeah,
fossils.
Fossils,
basically,
what do they call it?
Specimens. 500,000 specimens. Gorgeous building, and then they were what was it, like LEED Gold certified for eco friendliness. They had like compressed sunflower husk on the walls, which doesn't sound great, but it was phenomenal. And it's just a really nice buttoned up building. And then you go through a door and it's just hallway full.
Yeah, you're talking about the receiving upstairs.
Yeah,
right?
I'm talking about everything, man. It never ended.
There's this hallway that you're probably looking at right now of nothing but fossils that have been brought in, have been collected and brought in that are awaiting
Preparation.
Prep.
Okay, thank you. Awaiting prep. So, and you'll see by the pictures where we're standing there, it's a huge hallway. So those are just the ones that are coming in awaiting prep. And she showed us all those things up there, and then the big giant sauropod pelvic bone was the largest thing they had gotten in the door.
In half?
And it was cut in half, and it was still the largest thing. It was huge. Then they took me to Paradise. We went into the prep lab where they prepped the fossils, and it was one of the most comprehensive and
gorgeous
and
functional,
toy-laden
tool
rooms that I have ever been in. It was awesome. And the pictures should be flashing up as you see them right here now. It was incredible, and it was pretty intense at that point. And that's when we lost everybody. Everybody started going, oh, So, and that was, then she took us downstairs. So after they're prepped, they go downstairs to the curating and cataloging area.
Yeah. I've seen Dr. Hunt awestruck to the point of speechlessness, like maybe twice. And I mean, today was about the second or third time that I've just seen her just completely like enamored.
I felt the museum was awesome. Seeing all the paleontology stuff, all the cool dinosaur bones and things like that. Which were almost 100. I'm saying almost because I think some of the ones in the middle of the plesiosaur, and the mosasaur, they're about 80%, and they had to substitute some of it out. But that's still a lot of fossil there, which is really neat. And they also had a full section dedicated to the Badlands, which is really cool to see a lot of those animals and how they interacted back then.
Just that giant pig.
That giant pig was terrifying.
That thing was cool.
I would not want to see that thing in real life.
That wasn't even its full size.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't even its
What
final
was the name of that? The
Archaeotherium.
Archaeotherium.
Yeah, William, you at least one thought about everything.
At least one? Oh boy. Here, well.
Mosasaurs!
I got to pick.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the museum would have to be seeing the mosasaur skeleton. It's one of my favorite marine reptiles, and just seeing it on display was incredible.
But then the research lab happened, right?
Oh.
Then the research, then William loses all motor function and doesn't know how to explain anything because he's
like Mosasaur. And you see if the camera can get in really close, you can see there's drool coming down the side of his mouth.
You could see his eyes kind of glaze over as he's
because she was there and the lady said, you know what? We have one of those lottery fossils here. You know, one of those that, in Jurassic Park.
Right, because they normally don't find fossils at the top. There's normally layers. However, that was the one fossil that proved them wrong, and it happened to be a juvenile mosasaur.
That was cool.
And it was freaking detailed. I mean, it was
there was still enamel on the teeth, and you could see it's partial remains of the stomach contents.
And she said there was some cartilage there too, I think.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
It was as you can see in the pictures, it was a very well preserved animal. For being as old as, and it was found near the surface.
Which is
quite literally when somebody was going behind a bush to go to the bathroom on the day before they were ready to leave.
And they found that?
And they found that, and they changed their plans.
I was blown away. I've never seen, they had dinosaur bones, like, I don't even have anything, comparable to that. Like, I had grass in the backyard, maybe.
Yeah.
There was just that many cataloged little bones of dinosaurs. even rabbits, and what was that one? The oldest cat on record.
Yeah.
That was just so cool. I mean, I've never just rolling the drawers out, and then just drawers, and then drawers, and then drawers, and shelves, and I was like, holy cow! I've never seen nothing like this in my life.
What about the boss curator in the main museum who let us see that
T-Rex jaw?
T-Rex jaw,
yeah.
the one they were showing on
The lower part.
live.
Yeah,
that was cool.
they didn't bring that out to the public. That was only available. We got to see something that the
Because
public.
we were early and
Yeah,
the
we
TV
interrupted
and the
their
people
shit.
were, broadcasting, so we had to wait a while.
That's what you get for interrupting. You get the bonus.
Well, we
section.
didn't interrupt. They were kind of delaying ours because
Yeah.
we were on time.
And
But at the
to
same
make it up,
time, I thought that was really nicer to
That
say,
was awesome.
guys, while I got this out before I put it away, wouldn't it be cool to?
How has your impression of scientists changed, if at all? Did they have some vision of how these high-powered scientists?
With all these high-powered scientists, they have all these bones, but they took the time to talk to us, just mere freshmen and sophomores, to really explain and make sure that we knew what we were getting into here and how to further our research and all of that. They were just really welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole design of the building was designed just so people could come in and they could see the prep room had windows where people could just look straight into the prep room as they're cleaning, and it's just phenomenal looking at this. And that was the one thing that really blew me away, was how open they were.
Well,
You did?
I will say that you all receive some special treatment
Oh yeah.
because you're young geologists, and people like that appreciate that.
Good. The other thing that I want to mention is she said that their whole philosophy on fossils had changed. As she called it, it used to be a Mosasaur trophy run whenever they would leave to go out to make collections. And that has changed now to become more of a let us find out, understand, and preserve. That Mosasaur, she said, was going to remain like that. They weren't going to try to take it and separate the bones. It was going to remain in the state that they found it.
It was going to remain in the matrix.
In the matrix and everything else. They weren't going to try to remove it because it made more sense to leave it like that because that's how the animal died. The next question is to use the facts that you have and the research that you can get, find out why. Why would a juvenile mosasaur die and be left in one piece without being chewed up by a bigger mosasaur?
Right, because a lot of the times the juveniles became snacks for the bigger one.
I think overall the journey today was a great success.
I think we're going to call an end to this particular meeting right now. Unless, Carolyn, you want to add something about the museum?
Oh yeah, one thing I thought that was really cool, I think it was an Oreodont that they had that had the fossilized fetus that was like fossilized with it.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah, they're actually a relative of camels. They look nothing like it. You'd never
Really?
guess. Kind of a
Okay.
small dog, like a medium-sized dog. And they look like carnivores too. They've got like huge teeth. It was pretty cool. And then like in the actual lab, they had, what was the name of the giant pig?
Archaeotherium.
Yeah, they had an Archaeotherium that actually had a horn from another animal stuck into the side of its head. It was amazing.
Yeah, one of his tusks. From
Yeah.
Yeah.
Showing that they were very territorial animals.
And you even saw some microfossils, didn't you?
Yeah, the lady who gave us the tour actually like took the time to show me like some of the tiny shells that they were picking through. I believe it was like off the coast of Florida that they got them from. They think they're about 2 million years old. But they're actually comparing like some of the fossils they got there to some of the fossils that we have now, because some of them are basically the same. And she was trying to see like how man has impacted like the population. It was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yep.
And she was a graduate student
Yeah.
at the School of Mines in paleontology, and she was doing basically specializing in taphonomy. And so she was doing what work really to what Scott's done and what Hayden has done and so forth, studying the matrix around the fossils and determining what happened and what was the environment like. And
Good powwow.
I guess that will do it for this event. Thank you very much.